honestly, she needed to be. A lot of people go through things that change them forever, but in a way where you just hit rock bottom yourself without any external factors, like you hit rock bottom mentally and spiritually, it changes your life forever. Hitting rock bottom wasn't just painful, it was a complete ego death. I lost everything that I thought I knew about myself. Like, up to that specific point in my lifetime, I thought that I knew everything fully about myself and who I was. The version of me that I was before, I was afraid to speak up, I was insecure, I was afraid of the spotlight. I didn't want anything to do with the light, and I just didn't want to be seen or perceived in any form or any sort of way. And you know, me being afraid to be perceived and not me speaking up was something from childhood, because like when I would speak up, some people would ignore me or just they made me feel dumb. And you know, this still plays out until this day. Like when I speak up, I only share my thoughts to specific people because my thoughts aren't for everyone. You know, you have to learn that your thoughts aren't for everyone either, because if you share specific things with people and they don't understand you or they're not on your level, you're going to feel some type of way. They're going to make you feel some type of way. They either don't know what to say or they just ignore you completely. That's why I feel like I have like kind of like two different versions of me to people. Like only one group of people gets like this vulnerable, deep side of me, intellectual. I can share my thoughts with them because I know that they will understand me. And this other group, it's like I'm a puppy. Like I'm dumb, like I'm playing dumb. I just have to act normal in front of these people, because I know I can't share my thoughts with them. But fast forward in school and content creation and all of that. In school, like I never really talked that much. Like I was like, I guess you would say like a popular loner. Social media was going really good for me around that time, but I was alone, and that is when my ego death did happen. It happened around that time. I would say my senior year of high school. Now to go into the ego death of what I'm about to talk about. What made me lose my sense of self completely? You know, when I said that I was afraid of being perceived and all those things, other people's perception and their judgment affected the way that I lost my sense of self, because I didn't have a true form of identity in myself yet. So in a way, it needed to happen, and thank God that it did happen. It wasn't just sadness or frustration, it was a complete loss of self. Like, have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered who you actually were? Went from someone who was insecure, afraid, alone, but still had a framework of who I was. But then when this happened, I had nothing to hold on to. Even if my form of identity back then was built on fear, I still had something to hold on to. The version that I once was, who was scared of judgment, who was scared of other people's opinions, who held back my opinions, and was scared to take up space. It wasn't just painful, it was honestly disorienting, because when you go from someone like that to someone now who isn't afraid to take up space, who speaks her mind, who stands up for herself, and has a strong form of identity and self and knows who she is today, it was honestly one of the most dreadful experiences that I had in life. Because when you lose yourself like that, it isn't just an emotional low, it is a void. I felt completely empty. I felt like no one could understand me. I couldn't even understand myself. You don't recognize yourself in the mirror, and your actions and your thoughts. The things I found comfort in didn't even make me feel comfortable anymore. Like just like me watching YouTube, enjoying the day, I couldn't do that anymore. The way I moved through the world didn't make sense anymore. Around this time, I had goals and ideas of what I wanted to pursue in my head and what I wanted to be, and even that, my desires changed completely, because you don't even know what you want anymore. Honestly, it was the most terrifying experience of my life, but it was so freeing, because once you lose your sense of self, you can decide who you want to be next. Like once that version of you is wiped away, you completely don't know anything anymore about yourself. But anyways, I remember this specific day, this specific night. I was on the floor. I was just asking myself a bunch of questions. I had out my notebook. I was just really confused myself. I was really lost. I'm like, who really am I? Like, what What am I here for? Who am I? What made me have all these ideas about myself? What made me afraid to speak up? Like, I really dived deep in myself. I'm like, where is this from? I'm confused. Because most of the time, if you don't dive deep into yourself, you will live a life that's lost of someone else's idea of you. Because in childhood, I picked up some things from other people, and I had to realize that it's not from me, it's just a part of me, and I had to let that go. Once you realize that, and you let go of that, it's very freeing, and you get to really know who you are. But I was crying that whole night. I couldn't understand why I was going through this at such a young age, what that was. Like, why did I completely lose my sense of identity? Why did this happen? Why did this have to happen? Now that I'm here, even before I was here, it all made sense to me, because I couldn't be that version of myself forever. I think that it was bound to happen, even though I didn't know what I was going through at the time. I was so frustrated, I couldn't understand anything. And there was a point of time in my life where I was so obsessed with writing my thoughts down, but not just that in that way. I was obsessed with really trying to deconstruct things in my life, self-concept, all of these things where I burnt myself out. Like, yes, I wanted to learn about self-concept and all these things, but at the time, like, when I was going through that ego death, like, it was just too much for me to learn, too much for me to consume. So it was a period of time in my life where I'm going through all these things, I'm trying to learn all these things, and it's not getting me anywhere because it's too much to learn, it's too much to deconstruct. I quit with the notebook. I stopped writing things down, and I just sat with myself. I sat with myself for months. I just really observed how I was doing in that time, and I still wrote down my thoughts and my feelings. Over time, I just had to rewire a lot of things in my mind, and what I've been through, I finally found myself again. It wasn't the same self that I was. I created something new over in that time. I completely was erased in that time period. After I sat with myself, that's when I did start to learn about self-concept and confidence, and also deconstructing thoughts in your head, negative thoughts, and all of these things that I have learned. And it made me and shaped me into who I am currently right now. Before, I always thought confidence was being the baddest bee in the room, being loud, but it's really about owning your space and being complete in your own space and in yourself. I had to realize that my opinion and my voice matters, and I started to not care what anyone thought if they didn't get my thinking. I realized some people are just not going to resonate with what you say, and that is fine to me, but my voice and my opinion still matters. And now into stepping into the spotlight. I don't specifically mean spotlight as in social media. I mean spotlight as in myself, my own light. Being in my own light, no matter whose darkness I can feel, and the energies that I can feel, no matter what, I'm in my own light, and nobody's gonna change that. Before, when I used to walk in a place, I was very timid. I didn't want to show up as who I really was. I just you can tell when someone is scared to be perceived or something. So I would show up in a way where it's just very shy, very timid. And now I just completely own the space. I walk in the room like I own it. And that doesn't come in a form of ego. It comes in a form of my own self-worth. I know exactly who I am and how valuable my light is. So why would I walk into a room like I'm not that valuable? This impacted my approach in dating and social media and just everything in general. Sometimes a lot of people aren't used to that light that you have. I've been through a lot. And I'm not just a pretty face. I'm not I'm more to it, and a lot of people don't get to that side because they can't get past this external barrier. They can't see nothing past just the face. When it comes to in terms of that, I always show up unapologetically myself. Really, what am I afraid of anymore? I'm not afraid of anything. I've been through the worst, honestly. when you go through something like that at such a young age, it changes you in a way forever where you literally cannot care anymore. Like, it's not that I can't care. It's just like my voice and my presence in myself and what I built inside of me is so strong that it can't be shaken now. Before, it could be shooken, it could be destroyed. I had to build it back up. But now it is so strong inside of me. Nothing can break what I built. But really, losing yourself is the only way to really find yourself. If that would have never happened to me, I would have never found myself. Like, I don't know where I would be. I don't know who I would be. I think I would get lost in the crowd. Because a lot of people who don't have a form of identity, a form of self, or even just strong in their self, they get lost. They get lost with other people. They're like sheep. They follow the herd. They don't have their own form of opinion, their own form of self. When you put in a situation like that, rock bottom forces you to rebuild yourself. Honestly, it's the most excruciating process ever. I'm so glad that I already went through it because I can't imagine going through it again. But obviously in life, we're all gonna hit rock bottom and we all gonna have to start over at some point. With that being said, there's different rock bottoms, I feel like. And now that I've been through it, I feel like I know how to handle it better so I don't get to that bottom again. Mentally, I can't be taken back there. Spiritually, I can't be taken back there. But physically, rock bottom, yeah, rock bottoms are gonna happen, but I know how to handle it now. If you ever feel like you're at your lowest, trust me, it is not the end, it's actually the beginning. The way that rock bottom can change your life is honestly amazing. I would have never thought I would be making this video a few years ago, or even speaking, yet alone. You know, that's like what really changes you. Like, when you hit rock bottom, you don't know what the future holds. You don't know what your future self holds and what they can do, what they can accomplish. I literally had to reinvent myself, reinvent my mind, reinvent the way that I think. It's everything about me. Now, today, I am so proud of myself. I am proud to say that I am a strong, wise, beautiful, inside and out, amazing woman that has been through a lot and alchemized her way out of the darkness yet again every single time. Honestly, amazing to say that about yourself. I feel like that kind of accomplishment in life is way more than any materialistic accomplishment or anything else, honestly. Because if you can hit rock bottom and you can climb your way out, you should applaud yourself. Because not a lot of people can do that. Some people stay stuck there. They stay stuck in rock bottom because they feel like there's no way out. But you have to understand, if you got into the darkness, there's always a light. There's always a light at the end, on the other side. See, I still can't believe how powerful I am and just like my own form of opinion and who I am today. It's honestly mind-blowing to me, and sometimes I forget who I used to be because it feels centuries ago to me, honestly. Because when you level up and upgrade yourself that much spiritually and physically and mentally, you feel like your old self is not even real. You're like, who is that? Honestly, because that's how I feel. I honestly don't know who that was. At the same time, it was a part of me. And even our child selves are a part of us until this day. Like, your inner child is still inside of you. You know that, right? Oh, I hit rock bottom. It also catered to my inner child self. Because I basically poured love into myself, respect into myself. I worked on myself for a period of time where it shows that you really do care about yourself and you do want to get out of this. It just heals your inner child in a way. My inner child, like, she was very shy. Like, honestly, I don't think that if you told my child self, like, she can honestly form an opinion, she can speak, and she can be in her own light, she would laugh at you. When I was a kid, I was at this modeling gig and I had to do a commercial and I was in line, and when it came to my turn, I cried and I turned around Like, I literally couldn't do it. Like, I was so scared. Like, when you shift your mindset and your perspective changes on things and you hit rock bottom, it's going to change your life forever. And you should always be grateful for that experience, because at the end of the day, it always teaches you something, or it reinvents something into something more powerful and something more greater. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you took something from this video. I love you guys, and I'll be posting this week.